York. Ebro in the morning on Hot 97.
Ebro in the morning. You got Laura Styles and the brother M1. RBGs was good. Dead Press was good. Stickman was good.
Yep.
Give it up for M1 right now. Introduce me to these people with you, brother.
Shout out to Stickman. Thank you for shouting out Stickman.
Yeah.
People on me all day. Right here beside me, next to me is Irie Child.
Yeah.
And next to him is my partner Bono from Italy.
Okay, wait. So you gave me a record some time ago.
Yes.
With you guys collaborating. How did you in Italy? M1 Italy.
Yep.
What is
Bono,
that?
kind of tell how you reached out to Dead Press.
Yeah, we met when I produced my first solo album as a producer. So I had a lot of artists worldwide, from Palestine to England to UK, and of course Dead Press. So I linked up with the guys. We did the song, the first single, and then which was amazing. Yeah, we did a great job. And right after we did the song named Rare Revolutionaries in Miami. We did the video, was huge. And so we decided to link up for a project, and now it's 6-7 years we stay together.
And so wait, that was that original project?
Yes, that
what
was
was
the
that
first
called
project.
if people don't know about
It was called All Power to the People.
All Power. So M1, talk to me about the international revolutionary people.
Okay.
Right? Because Dead Prez obviously started a movement which was kin to a lot of movements prior in vocalizing what black people were going through in America and how we got to the mind state that we are. Not just how we got here geographically speaking, but mentally what happened to us. You guys have always talked about that, and then also talked about unwinding,
Yes.
that slavery,
Yes.
that capture of our minds and our spirit, right? How did that translate internationally? Because Italy is not a place that
You would think.
at the top of my mind, I'm like, oh, they get what's going on. So,
Right. Well, first of all, we poor black kids from the ghettos of the United States, and after we understood our position and we were ready to change that. That's how Dead Press kind of formed. We were tired of being captives of our community and oppressed. So let's get free. So therefore, let's get free. That voice
Classic hip hop.
Thank you. That voice came forward, and we meant to speak to this community. We meant to speak to Brooklyn and Tallahassee and Compton and the Bay Area, Oakland, East Oakland. And what ended up happening was the world heard it. Not only in college campuses and middle class and even higher people here, but the European world heard it and was like, oh, that's happening, and these youth are talking this way. And like you said, you wouldn't think that it's happening that way, but there's so many communities who's standing on the right side of the question in Europe. Italy, who's doesn't want to see the past that it has had, the history of the Nazism, the oppression against the world's people. So there's so many people who are progressive on the right side of the question who are saying, look, we're building social centers. We building centers that can talk about so-called immigration or African people coming into Europe in a positive way, how we can really build so that we can be free on that side. So this is where I met Bono, in that same circle. And so I want people out there to know, when I'm in Europe, I'm dealing in some of the most progressive environments that I've ever been in. I've been moving around the movement in the United States for over 20 years, and the first time that I was in direct clashes with police over issues of human rights and environmental rights it happened in Rome.
Wow.
And with this guy. And so, which changed my life. So, and this is the reason why I'm still on fire. Because
was that an awakening for you? Because, it's easy in America for when you come from black neighborhoods, brown neighborhoods, to just look at white people and go, yo, y'all all the same. Was that an awakening for you to be like, wait, hold up?
Let me tell you, it definitely woke my mind up to the fact that it doesn't matter about skin color. It's about what side of the question you stand on. And it's easy coming from the South or here to see race, because
that's an American thing.
It happens. Police traditionally look white to us. The system looks white. It has a white complexion. But if we look at it everywhere we go, our system can be defeated by everybody just being on the right side. So when I see Bono, I'm able to see a comrade, not just somebody who's living in Europe, you know what I mean? And of course, it was eye-opening for me, wide eye-opening, Malcolm X eye-opening, go to Mecca eye-opening.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I asked you, because that's similar to what Malcolm X went through. When it got outside of America's constructs and the Jim Crow, and that post-traumatic slave thing that we all go through here in America, where it's easy to fall into just a white and black discussion.
Exactly. Yeah.
You get out in the world and you see it's bigger than that. There's a common thread around the globe, right? That all oppressed people have, which
Yeah.
most of it ends up being economic.
Right.
Or, you know, some ideology that the government or the people in charge are pressing upon people to say, listen, this is how you will be if you want to fit into society.
Right.
Was that your experience when you got out in the world that you started to see, wait a minute, this is lining up to be more, because it may not be about race, but we are more alike than we are different.
Oh yeah, and that is really the truth of it. And like 99.9%, really genetically. Like if you study us, we're all exactly alike. We're 0.01% different. And so when you start to divide it, it's really ruling class and the rest of us. It's the I mean, it might sound cliche today, but it's the 1% who own the 99% of the resources of the world, and the rest of us living off the scraps.
And
so,
they got us confused going at each other instead of focused on how we're going to uplift everybody.
And the idea, look, the revolution is about transfer of power, sharing the resources. You know what I mean? Like, let's get it clear. Like, I appreciate the jewels that Jay dropped in 444, but we're not going to get financial freedom is not liberation. You know, it's like real transfer of power, meaning decision making over our lives, meaning self-determination. Where we go to school, how we educate, how we heal, how we deal with our communities, how we deal with our own conflicts inside of our community without outside. That's the true power. That's the true currency of what it is. And that's the side that we got to get on. It's not like all that other stuff is like a diversion. It's not the real discussion.
I want to go through that one more time for people who may have missed it. You started out by saying that you appreciate what Jay-Z said in 444.
Yeah.
However, it's deeper than financial freedom.
And much, much deeper. You know, because, you know, Jay, and I think he would appreciate me saying this, is a capitalist. And capitalism was born from black slavery. It was born from brigandage and bondage and stolen resources for over 400, 500 years that still continues today. And a system that's still fed from that. Africa is the resource of the world. It's not even it's not a secret. Obama knew it, Trump knew it, Bush knew it. That's why America is so invested in Africa. So the real question is, who has the resources? You know what I mean? So thank you to Jay for saying, look, don't hustle backwards, hustle forward in this American paradigm, but see outside of America. See the real, connect ourselves with the real resource. That's land resource. That's why these cell phones can't work without coltan that comes from the Congo. Literally, we wouldn't even have a cell phone without the Congo in Africa today. You know what I mean? So if you talk about resources, it ain't just paper money. It's about having access. And so a lot of times,
and what I hear you saying is controlling resources.
Yeah. So again, and so when back to that 444 discussion, people say, "Oh, this is the most pro-black album since." At least I heard in the Village Voice, it's the most pro-black album since Public Enemy's.
I didn't even subscribe to that.
Of course not. And
I was like, that's a great headline. Fine if you want to get people to read the article that way, but there's been so many.
It's incorrect. Yeah. It's incorrect to even position it that way. And I want to just give power to people who've been struggling and trying to say real things all down the line. So, like I said, I think I just want to be a part of that discussion. And so this voice can be heard as well. People can say, okay, it ain't green, just green. It's red, black, and green.
Right. And I think we should also in this conversation, too, make no mistake, as you pointed out, appreciating that someone at at Jay-Z's level, where he started, where he is today, continuing to have a conversation. I think that's also what I hear you saying, too, because it's all a part of the mix of being progressive and revolution. A lot of people, they hear revolution and they don't just think transfer of power.
Right.
They don't just think change. They think it's going to be, and it might be, more dramatic and more violent than that. We don't know where this is going.
It already has been. It's very violent.
It's very violent.
It's violent. It's bloody. It's caskets, bloodshed and caskets all around. We're just not coming to the reality that we have to do something proactive about it. And we celebrating actually 20 years of people who have been influencing me. People who have chosen the fact that, look, freedom to me is worth more than anything I'm living like. And they have become political prisoners in this country.
And
people
Black
like
August.
Mutulu Shakur. People like, Rochelle McGee and Herman Bell. And I say these names so people can, and shout out to Sekou Odinga, who's up in Harlem now after being free after 40 years of giving us all of his life. So, those people, like you said, Black August, that's what we call Black August, that celebration of political prisoners and freedom fighters in the U.S. So when you start talking about freedom in that way in the United States, people is much deeper, you know what I mean, than seeing bloodshed and caskets. Like, it's daily work. It's like teaching.
And people who have given their lives
Yes.
behind bars in cages, away from their families.
Only because we want to build schools, escape police oppression, be free. Only because of that. It's not because we want to kill nobody. We don't want to murder the police. The police are murdering us. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, like, get it straight. When you talk about revolution, it's about love. It's a love thing. And people think it's about, like, a clash thing. It's a love thing. And we're willing to do anything to feel that love. Anything.
We before, go ahead, Bono.
Yeah, on the music side, I want just to mention that we did a song named 99% with Talib Kweli.
Yeah.
Which is in the first album, like 2011.
Yeah.
So, just mentioning that.
99% with Talib Kweli.
Yeah, so
we did
anybody who's can check out that on ap2p.info, go back and hear the 99%. Around that time, it was the Occupy movement, which was progressive inside the United States, and we were able to tap Kweli for his rhyme.
And Occupy then became Occupy Wall Street.
Right, right.
Which evolved into other movements that we've seen on the heels of deaths and murders of Mike Brown, and Philando Castile, and
Black Lives
Eric
Matter.
Garner and the Black Lives Matter movement. So that's almost, we're reaching like 10 years of people being using social media and being active and sacrificing their time to continue the conversation. We're moving in that direction,
Exactly.
which you and your comrades have been a part of for a long time.
Yeah.
How does it feel on that page to see people more receptive?
To me, it's amazing because no matter when we come, it's the right time. And so when I see people now opening our eyes, not just because, like, I see a new movement, like, not people who've been indoctrinated by the old kind of mantra or dogma of people who, like, read revolutionary texts or come from, like, a movement background. I'm talking about young trap music revolutionaries. You know what I'm saying? Who like, hey, my nigga, I'm not fucking with it. I hope I can curse right here. And if not,
that's fine.
And so, and for me, it's a different language. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful language. It's even teaching me how to communicate in a way like Fred Hampton said, plain proletarian English, the language of the people. And so I'm loving to see that and invite that to the new fold, to learn from the people who, I'm learning. The teacher is the student, you know what I'm saying? And I love that aspect of it.
And I think it's important, too, Laura, we had a conversation just yesterday with the young man, Sa Baby, kid from Atlanta, right? You click on the video, he's got the song Pull Up With a Stick.
Let it hit.
You look at the video, right?
Yeah.
And all you see is what appears to be people in a common uniform with a bunch of paintball guns. And I'm joking because it ain't paintball guns, but we had a conversation with him that surprised me, right? Which was about his awareness of Africa and himself in the universe, right? And him trying to find his path, which I didn't expect. I didn't expect this 20-year-old young man, but then to talk to his father, know where his father came from in Chicago, and to see that that is a generation. You have a 45-year-old father with a 20-year-old son who was raised in some of the most undesirable conditions, trying to navigate being black in America and growing up in neighborhoods where being organized and gang affiliated is obviously condemned, right? Because there's violence and things taking place. But it's people trying to find community and family out of a dysfunctional beginning. And sometimes the path is, has many twists and turns that aren't pretty.
Yeah. And we talked about this before on the show. Like, in this Trump era, I guess the silver lining is people wanting knowledge, especially like I've been at the Women's March and these different protests, and you see young men and women, really young, just seeking knowledge, whether it's something they didn't grow up at home, but now they care more. Like, it's an emotional trigger that they're like, okay, let me pay attention, not only to something that affects me, but that affects my brother, my sister, you know what I mean? No matter what religion or race. So I would say that's, to me, that's, like, when I remember we were at the Women's March, and it was just beautiful to see men and women just together, you know what I mean?
The women are leadership. I want to shout out to the women out there. The women are our leadership. And I say that not even lightly. They've been my leadership since the beginning of the movement. And I know that what's about to happen with the network around women is going to be revolutionary for us. So men, listen up. And also, I love the fact that there's so much unlikely revolutionaries happening. Like you said, the pull up with the stick kid, and like also people like when you look at Kodak Black video, and shout out to Garcia and them, like it sounds like the hood, but then you see the images of like this cat getting out of a stranglehold of the police. People like Vick Mensa, people even like, unlikely revolutionaries. I hear Migos talking about Black Panther Party in their song, you know what I'm saying? Like, even if it's one mention, it still says these guys come from a community that won't let that understands that in a real way.
And made sure they was fed.
Yeah, and
I don't think I don't think we, and me included, give them props for being young men.
That's right.
And doing that. I think, we would, I guess many of us that are older wish they would go farther. Right, but they got to get there in their own time, just like we did, right?
Exactly.
I mean, I got there early because of where I'm from, right? And it happened for me early. But like you pointed out, you had to find it in your own path. You wasn't raised in it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or somebody like Colin Kaepernick.
Right. Shout out to him. And I love finding that consciousness in the middle of like the most capitalist intensive industry that there is, which says I won't capitulate to money. I have standards, I have principles that I stand by, and this is what I mean. And if it means that I have to make a protest in the middle of this game for people to hear it, I will. And that takes a lot of will.
And if it means that I'm not going to work, I can't even work in this industry anymore. Y'all won't even hire me for a job.
You see me?
Like we've been talking about that for several days, how Michael Vick got on TV and said, look, they were talking about what does Colin Kaepernick need to do. And Michael Vick said, first thing he's got to do is cut his hair. Firestorm.
Yeah.
And I said, Michael Vick's not wrong. It's wrong that he has to cut his hair. But Michael Vick is not wrong in saying that Colin Kaepernick needs to cut off his strong black man image. They want to see him bow down, kiss the ring, capitulate, get in line, and follow. And Colin Kaepernick's like, I'm not interested in that. If you want me to play, I'll play.
I get it, and I'm going to respectfully disagree with you, E. Because all these football players running around with locks, dreadlocks coming out their helmet.
They're not quarterbacks.
What about football players?
Quarterbacks.
What about football players that have been charged with abusing animals?
Yes.
They're
It's
beating their
wrong.
wives, drugs, DUIs. The list goes on and on.
They want to
and they
make
get to
Colin
play.
Kaepernick bow down. They want him to cut that hair, cut off that strong black man if you want this job.
I agree with you.
And he's saying, fuck y'all. I'm not doing that.
That's the play, and I agree with you for the power system to show that we can make somebody kneel to this. I'm just not buying the image of black people being manicured in order for us to look like we presentable.
No, you shouldn't.
Like Kawhi Leonard ain't cutting his braids.
But you know how they try to make those quarterbacks. They try to make those quarterbacks the golden boys.
I feel you.
Ain't no quarterback in the NFL with a nothing.
Got you. Yeah.
That's what they try. Oh, you want to be the face of the franchise?
I remember when there was no black quarterbacks. I grew up in a time where there wasn't even black quarterbacks.
Now we got a quarterback that's like, fuck y'all. And you know what I'm saying? Like real talk.
Real talk.
That's fast forward.
And I love it.
And Michael Vick knows firsthand because he went to prison and he wanted to play. He had to capitulate. He went to prison. He did cut his braids off.
Yep.
Get in line. Stay on time. Quiet down. He knows. It's wrong that that conversation even has to happen. That's the wrong piece.
It is, and I know I disagree with it. I think he should not have said that in the media. The media.
Oh, Mike Vick.
Oh
yeah, okay, that's fair.
I think the media is the culprit in that, and because I think that conversation should have happened amongst a room full of people who care about Colin Kaepernick.
Oh yeah, facts. That's true. That's a great.
He was just feeding.
Yeah.
Well,
and in some ways, a bigger conversation that we had this morning, which is we continue to talk to each other.
Yeah.
Right? Michael Vick's talking to Colin Kaepernick, da-da-da. The conversation really is about the NFL.
Right. Exactly.
It ain't about what Colin Kaepernick needs to do.
Right.
It's about what the NFL represents, who owns the teams,
right,
and who they're selling tickets to.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to stop playing ourselves and going at each other about how we can chase this money. The real conversation is realizing that middle America that buys tickets to the NFL has a bigger problem with a black person taking issue with their community being mistreated and murdered. Innocent people being murdered. Middle America has more of a problem with that than a person beating their wife, right?
Yep.
Murdering somebody in a DUI,
yep,
right? Sexual assaults.
Mm-hmm.
They have more of a problem with a black man standing up for his community and people that look like him than they do with somebody doing drugs, going to prison, killing animals, rapists, all of it.
So,
That's the real conversation.
So follow the money trail of the NFL. Follow the leadership. Look at the history. Look how it was formed. Look what it supports and who it supports. And all of that leads nowhere near our community. So you know why that position is that way.
And they can take it, and we still, many of us still gonna turn on the television.
Exactly.
And they're gonna get their money.
Yeah.
Black August, an annual celebration. You said 20 years. It's
20
been
years
happening.
right now.
And I
Yeah.
remember there used to be a concert down in Cuba.
Yeah, we did concerts not only in Cuba, but shout out to the Malcolm X Grassroots Organization, who in New York City was the first people I participated in Black August with. In Chicago, where I lived, under the tutelage of Akua and Jerry, Fred Hampton Sr.'s wife, we used to do Black August as a celebration. And it wasn't the way it was in New York. New York is different because there's so much artistry here and power and star power. So yeah, Malcolm X Grassroots was able to tap people like, I don't know, Fat Joe, Lauryn Hill, Erykah Badu, Dad Perez, through the years in all these concerts. Which led to us going to Cuba and giving the resources from that, not only to political prisoners here, but to communities who we felt needed it. And so we did South Africa as well, and were able to touch communities that were going through like same situations that what we're going through here. So we want to keep those names out there. You know, we want to celebrate George Jackson. We want to say Assata Shakur is welcome here, no matter what Trump said or Bush said, and no matter what Obama didn't do. We know that these are still heroes for our community who stood up for our rights and whose agenda is still right. It's still right on point. The 10 points of the Black Panther platform are more relevant now than they've ever been before, which is it's a shame that America is that way.
And things are moving that slow.
Slow. Feel me?
And it's generational too.
Yeah.
It's generational. I think what we're seeing right now, and I don't know how you felt when Donald Trump became president, but there was a piece of me, and Laura and them got mad at me because the first morning after Donald Trump came on, I laughed. And I laughed mostly to kind of keep from crying because of what you just pointed out, like how we come after Obama into this, right? Where you felt like we felt like we had something progressive. But this is that last bastion, that those 55-plussers, those people who are holding on to the 60s and, holding on and not wanting to admit the trauma that's happened to the population of America through capitalism, through Jim Crow, through slavery, and through the other things that have taken place, and not wanting to address those things and actually wanting to go backwards to some of that stuff.
It's a shame. This is the old guard. And this is a dying but not yet dead system. We're seeing like the ruling class fight in the most like fierce way. You see, they can't even agree about how to oppress us well.
Yeah.
They can't even agree on these tactics.
So
it used to be unanimous.
Yeah.
Like we gonna definitely whoop their ass like this. They can't even agree on how to whoop our ass no more. And so Trump is evident of lack of leadership. And you're right. Many of us are laughing to keep from crying. But there's a new agenda that we have to set because this thing we see is wobbly. It's unstable. So let's think outside of this system. Think about governing ourselves. Shout out to the ungovernable movement. Ungovernable. Be ungovernable because we got to govern ourselves. Think about governing ourselves. I'm going to plant that seed. Yeah.
His name is M1. His name is Bono. In your name?
Irie Child.
Irie Child, just like it says on your shirt, and y'all all do music together, right?
We do. Look out.
How can people find it all?
First of all, I want to shout out the brand new single. It's called Open, the G-Mix. And so it's produced by Bono, featuring Irie Child and Assassin. And he should have been on your Soca.
He was there last year.
Yeah.
He was there every year. Assassin's family.
Cool.
Yeah.
So Assassin is on this Open G-Mix. And so this is what we're here to drop here with you. So, give that out right now.
Let's go right now.
Yeah. And the album's called Between Me and the World, and that's what's happening.
There it is, man. Love y'all, man. Thank you, man. Thank you very much.
I want to mention the website,
Yeah,
www.ap2p.info.
Yeah.
You can find
ap2p.info.
info.
Yes.
There
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
Give it up for him, man.
Thank you, bro.
Remember Black August, and we're going to be delivering more information to keep those names out there, political prisoners, man. Pay attention.